What is going on, everybody? This is Audible Sportscast. All right, we got Cody and Jeff here. It's been a while since we've heard from you. How's it been, Cody?
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Just living up in California.
Oh yeah, living that Cali life. All sunshines and I don't know. I don't know what else they got over there,
That's about it.
but
Terrible drivers.
oh yeah, I mean you'll see that I think anywhere you go. But luckily we're not teaching everybody how to drive. We're going to talk some football. And we got a new week. It's continuing to be the sports equinox. All the major sports are going into effect. The World Series is actually going on right now. It's a tied 1-1. Hopefully the cheaters, Astros, don't win it all, but that's baseball.
Yeah, they're actually accused of cheating in the White Sox series with the White Sox.
Oh really? I didn't
Who
see
knows
that.
if it was true?
Yeah, it's hard to really know because once a cheater, it's kind of like with the Patriots all those years. Like, oh, they do one little thing and supposed little thing, and
But
next thing you
little
know,
thing,
well,
it's
like
pretty
with the
big.
like, yeah, but let's look at some of the Week 8 games coming up. Last week with our records, Cody and I both went 8-4, which pretty good. But Brett was on a roll. He went 11-1 last week, which so far has been the best record for us picking games. His one loss was a Carolina Giants game. Giants ended up winning. We all thought Carolina would, but it's a new week, so let's look at some more games. And started up Thursday Night Football. We got Green Bay Packers heading to the desert to play the undefeated Arizona Cardinals.
Out of the Cardinals.
Yeah,
If they can beat LA by two scores, I think they can beat Green Bay by the same margin.
yeah, and it's not helping Green Bay. They're kind of banged up, or not banged up, but COVID up, I guess is the way to word it.
Their
With
their defense is pretty big banged up.
yeah, I was kind of relating to the receivers with Devontae Adams, their number one, and arguably their number two, Alan Lazard, both not
Well, yeah, but Green Bay's also missing their number one pass rusher, their number one corner.
true. Yeah, I forgot that Jair still. Yeah, I mean, the more you kind of look at who's not playing, you got to go Arizona. Even with J.J. Watt having a season-ending injury, I mean, that's still there's still a lot of playmakers on that defense.
He did. I must have missed that.
Yeah, I think it came out late last night or in the evening.
For
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of big. He's one of the key, there's a reason he went to that team, and he's been a big part of their success so far this year.
they'll be all right.
Yeah, that team has loaded, especially with veterans on both sides of the ball. Um, Cliff Kingsbury, their head coach, looking like one of the coach of the year so far this year. So yeah, I think Cardinals have this one pretty well. Even if Aaron Rodgers has done well in the desert, but Arizona's on a roll right now. Next up, we got Carolina Panthers heading to Atlanta to play the Falcons. Both teams kind of meh right now.
I think the Falcons can. I think Sam Darnold and the Panthers have entered the. Um, I think they're down bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm,
He's
I'm
seeing ghosts again.
a yeah. Um, I think as long as Christian McCaffrey's out for the Panthers, I really can't pick the Panthers to win a game. I mean, that's kind of the heart of that team. Even when he doesn't play the best, which is very rare, he's still the key to that team winning.
Granted, both of the teams are bad. I
Oh yeah,
just
just the way I kind of see it is Falcons have a potential to be a high scoring offense, and
they're 3-3.
yeah, I mean they've put some high scoring games up, but yeah, it's the Falcons are just in in so to say a less of a shit show right now. So next up, speaking of shit shows, we got the Dolphins heading to Buffalo to play the Bills, which every time the Bills play the Dolphins, it's been a blowout the last I don't know year and a half. So is this trend gonna?
Anytime, every single game they played this year is a blowout.
Oh yeah, there's just too much going on right now in the Dolphins facility, with them potentially having a trade already agreed upon with Deshaun Watson. And, it's not going out right now because of, so many things, but just, it just comes to a point and you're just showing, zero faith in Tua, and that's killing his self esteem. So it's
Well, I
just like,
mean, Carolina's in the same position. Carolina's putting, I don't know how far Carolina's in on the trade position, but they're pushing too.
oh yeah, there's a handful of teams, pretty much the same couple teams before the season started. It seems like that are trying to get Watson, but
I don't think Denver's in it
yeah, probably. I guess not as much Denver,
because
but
they were pretty high at the beginning of the season, but I don't think they are.
they
No.
seemed kind of high on every quarterback for a little while. I mean, right before the draft, everybody and their mother thought that the Aaron Rodgers was going to go to the Denver for some reason, or the 49ers, I guess. Now I think about it. Dolphins, yeah, they just haven't looked good since their first game, week 1, and that's 7 weeks ago. And now they're playing, the Bills, who are one of the top teams. It's hard not to go with the Bills. It's almost impossible not to go with the Bills. So, Bills should get this one pretty easily, especially at home.
Very easily.
Next up, we got this one I've been going back and forth about. We got the 49ers coming into Chicago, play the Bears. Matt Nagy looks like he won't be able to coach because of COVID. Maybe that's a good thing. A lot of Bears fans are saying that's a good thing. Uh, what do you think?
Niners. I'm
Yeah,
done picking the Bears because they're not good at all.
yeah, and plus, a lot of the trade rumors with Aaron Robinson
Fields
possibly.
Fields does not make the team any better. Sorry, it's just the way it
I
is.
mean, I don't expect him to really be anything right now as a rookie, especially on a team that literally puts offensive
It
linemen
does
out
more
there.
harm putting in than letting him sit. That's the whole point of having Andy Dalton sit. That's
I
the whole concept.
it's always been a
That's how you
big.
get a. He's literally crying on the sideline last game. I think he's in bad shape.
It's tough. It's always a big argument when a quarterback should play, depending on especially who's the other quarterbacks. There's good examples of a quarterback sitting. There's good examples of a quarterback playing right away. So it's always hard to know.
Well, the Bears don't know how to take care of a damn QB, so
Well, yeah, they haven't for the last
that's
what
why Andy
75
Dalton
years.
was a good. That's why Andy Dalton was a good option. Look what
Yeah,
you're doing. You're ruining a QB in like 5 games.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how next year will go because I'm done. I'm done looking at the Bears this year. But yeah, I think 49ers. There's been a lot of Khalil Mack might not even play. And no matter what 49ers quarterback plays, whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy G, I think they'll have good success against the Bears.
Yeah, like the Colts blew them out, but it was also a very wet and
Oh yeah,
weary game.
yeah. It was one of those games where oh, and like the 49ers for a while were running well too against the Colts. So
He had uh, Elijah Mitchell had what almost 80 yards in like the first half,
something like that. Yeah,
or like I think the first quarter,
yeah. He was balling, and then
and then Jonathan Taylor got even more.
yeah, for a while they were on the same pace too. I think at one point they had the exact same amount of carries and yards.
The only thing the Bears got going for them in this game is the Niners corners aren't that good, like at all.
Yeah, so we'll see. There hasn't been a lot of clicking going on. The Bears are
But
last
but
in
that
passing
doesn't really
yards.
matter for the Bears because the Bears can't even pass the ball. So
Exactly. So we'll see.
the
And
Niners,
like we said, it's going to be possibly technically a new head coach. Um,
it doesn't make a difference
yeah,
right
especially
now. Right now,
especially going against what is a pretty good front and the Bears' offensive line being what it is. So, well, anyway, let's move on to another game. We got Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Cleveland to play the Browns. Um, I
with
think
how injured the Browns are gonna win still.
yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Even with them kind of injured,
Nick Chubb's coming back.
that's pretty big. I mean, Dearness Johnson
Um,
played really well, but I
yeah,
mean,
he's still going to get a decent amount of
oh
carries.
yeah.
Um,
And that I feel like is what makes the Browns really good is the fact they have a lot of good running backs and an amazing offensive line they can split carries from, and that's what you know. I mean, and I know a lot of teams are going pass heavy, but you know, you can if you can have a run game like that, you can do fairly well.
well, in Case Keenum, he didn't. Last I checked, he didn't play that bad. Am I wrong?
Nah, he didn't. I mean he was a game manager for that game. You know, you can kind of tell that
Well,
when
you
a
can argue a lot of the QBs in the league are game managers.
yeah, but I kind of mean on a short week being thrown kind of into it, they just said, hey, just hand the ball off, little short plays, don't do anything too aggressive. Which against maybe a Steelers defense, they might do
He
it a little
threw
bit.
a couple long ones like Odell, they
A
didn't
couple,
connect,
but
but
there wasn't a lot. It wasn't, it seemed a lot. It seemed pretty safe for the most part. I mean, luckily Case Keenum is one of the better backups when it comes to the QB position in the NFL. So they got that going for
yeah,
them. And the Steelers just haven't looked good last couple of weeks. Yeah, they've won a couple of their games, but they just haven't looked well against some of the teams they played. Um, so yeah, even with the kind of injured Browns team, I gotta go Browns.
yeah,
Next up, we have a potential battle for the first overall pick. Um, we have we have the Philadelphia Eagles heading into Detroit to play the Lions. Is this the week the Lions finally win a game?
yeah. I think so actually.
I've been thinking so too. Just that Eagles team is like there's times where they have some chances against some good teams, but just no, they at the same time they don't. So it's like I don't know. And the Lions have been fighting in a lot of their games. Like they almost beat the Rams, which it's situations are situational, but I just that team's been fighting a lot of these games. A home game against a team that's also not performing well. I think this is a chance the Lions finally have to win a game.
Yeah, the Eagles are hurting with Hurts.
Yeah, they definitely are.
They
Um,
made the wrong decision. I've always liked Wentz, and look at him. He's one of the highest performing QBs right now, and no one's talking about it. He's literally through since week one, he has the highest QB rating of all QBs, and no one's talking about it.
yeah,
He has one interception to 12 touchdowns, I think, 12 or 11.
yeah, he's been balling out, and it seems like the offense is finally starting to click together. And it seems like the last couple years for the Colts, it seems like they just have a rough kind of early start and end up kind of getting things going near, in the later stages of the season. I think the Lions got this in the bag, or maybe not in the bag. I think it'll be a tough game, but the Lions got this. And speaking of Colts, next game, Titans heading into Indianapolis to play the Colts. This is a very interesting one. I feel like.
Didn't Julio get hurt again?
I know he's been kind of dealing with I forget what it is, but he has been on the injury report for the games. I'm not sure what his status is. I believe he's questionable to play this week.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me, I got the Colts winning this, but the only thing that scares me with the Colts is their corners. They have last game they literally had two practice squad corners playing. Isaiah Rogers isn't a practice squad player, but I can't think of the other guy's name. But they're lower tier corners. Yeah, Rock Ya-Sin, I think, still hurt. I don't know if he'll be able to play. Xavier Rhodes, literally, they thought he was going to be out pre-game because he they thought he pulled a calf muscle, but he ended up playing. He actually got a key interception in the Niners game.
Yeah, he pretty much
Uh,
sealed it.
yeah, I've always liked him, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, they need healthy DBs.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. Especially going against a team like Tennessee, where yeah, Julio, they have Julio and AJ Brown, and with the limited corners, you have to play responsible for that. But at the same time, they have Derrick Henry, who's going to get 40 touches a game, and it only takes a handful for him to get something big, and
I
it's
think it's
just
going to be good. It seems like Naeem Hines has a great games against Tennessee. So I think he's going to go a little action Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
I think it's going to be a good running game
Oh yeah,
day for
definitely. For
both
both teams,
teams.
yeah.
Even receiving actually for the Colts, probably the Titans too. Yeah, definitely Titans. But I think the Colts will expose their. Cause they both have not the best corners right now. So I got
Yeah,
the Colts by a narrow margin, maybe one score.
yeah, I keep going back against this with this game. You have Titans who are looking, really hot right now. Colts who are starting to figure stuff out and looking good. I'll go home dog here. I'll take I'll go Colts. I know the
Because
home games.
yeah, like the last 3 years, the Colts and Titans take turns. It seems like
Yeah, they've been splitting.
they'll win one team wins one game, and then the other team wins the other in
Yeah.
the year.
And since Titans already won their game, it's time for the Colts to win theirs.
Yeah.
So,
So like last year, Colts beat the brakes off the Titans real bad, and then they went to Tennessee, or no, yeah, they went to Tennessee and they got their brakes beat off. So
yeah. So, yeah, I think oh yeah, definitely it'll be a good game. I think both teams will have really good games rushing and I mean, it'll just be good, well, not balanced, but a lot of offense, a lot of good offense. But next up, we got a game that maybe won't see as much good offense on both sides. Definitely on one side, we got the Cincinnati Bengals heading to New York to play the Jets. Jets have backup quarterback coming in to play. They did trade for Joe Flacco though, so yeah, maybe Joe Flacco still has a little bit in him to beat the Bengals.
I got the Bengals by 40.
Yeah, maybe not 40, but definitely a pretty good margin.
Well, see how much they beat the Ravens by?
Yeah, but at the same time, they have. I know situations are situational, but they did kind of downplay a little bit with the Jaguars. It seemed like there's also a Thursday night game on short rest, so it's hard to
That was
really
like
say. It was a couple weeks ago,
that was like
yeah,
week 2, wasn't it though?
3 or 4, I thought. But that's besides
Well,
the point.
that's
Every game's
when
different situation.
that's when Jamar Chase wasn't him,
They
and
still, actually, I think that's the only game he didn't score a touchdown in this year.
that's what I'm saying. He didn't have very much yards either. I think that was T. Higgins' game. Um,
I was actually
and
C.J. Uzama had 2 touchdowns, I believe.
but yeah,
Yeah, Bengals by a pretty good margin, that's for sure.
yeah,
Speaking of games with a wide margin, let's look at another one with a wide margin. We got Rams heading into Houston. Um, Rams all the way. Not much to say. I mean,
yeah.
the Rams are looking really good. Texans really not good. They just traded away Mark Ingram, so one less running back for them to go to, even though they still have like five. There's rumors Brandon Cooks might be traded here soon, and he's a key team leader in that locker room. So we'll see how that
I mean,
goes.
if they were smart, they would trade all the old talent away.
Yeah, especially someone like Brandon Cooks, whose cap hit is very small for the next team he goes to, so team doesn't lose a lot when it comes to finance getting them. Texans look bad, Rams look good. Not much to talk about. Next up, we got what could be pretty interesting game here. We got the New England Patriots heading to not San Diego. They're not in San Diego anymore. They're in LA to play the Chargers. Patriots somewhat starting to, they're playing a lot better offensively every week, it feels like. Chargers, before their bye, right? They had a bye last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, before their bye, did kind of have an embarrassing game against Baltimore. So, it will be interesting to see how they bounce back from a game like that.
I think this game could be better than it sounds.
Oh, yeah,
I want
definitely.
to say that I want to say the Chargers by a wide margin, but I don't think it will be the case. You gotta think the New England's defense is pretty solid,
Yep.
and yeah, I think I got the Chargers winning, but not by much, unless unless Mac Jones isn't performing well, which is could be a case.
It,
Then,
it definitely could be.
but saying he is performing well, I got the Chargers by 7.
Yeah, I'm, I think the factor with me going back and forth on that is the fact the Patriots do have to do a cross-country trip.
I have a cool story, but
Share it.
speaking of that, when I was at the airport, Indy airport, saw all the Colts players walking in and stuff. Um, uh,
Didn't you said Kenny Moore waved to
right,
you?
yeah, Kenny Moore waved at me.
Yeah, that they
I
were
waved at
that was
him.
them heading to the Baltimore game, wasn't it? Because I believe they played
Yes,
Baltimore Monday night that next
yeah, they did,
day. That's
and they could have won, but they
they
didn't.
almost did, but kind of like what we talked about with them, the injuries to the corners just gave Baltimore a real deep, good chance, and or they gave them the chance they got to win.
Yeah,
But I'll go Chargers. I think they'll bounce back really well, but we'll see. I think it'll be a pretty good game. Probably one of the more fun games to watch this week. But next up, we got another interesting game. We got the newly not undefeated Jaguars against a Seattle Seahawks team that's in a limbo right now without Russell Wilson.
I wouldn't say limbo. They're basically done.
Yeah,
Um, I have the Seahawks winning this game though. Not that it really matters for them because they're best off just losing out.
hey, who knows? Maybe they can win out. Go 12, 12 and 5? Yeah, 12 and 5.
They won't.
Yeah, not in that division. But yeah, Seahawks, Jaguars. They did finally get their win. They kind of stay in some games, kind of don't. I don't know. We'll see. I think it could be a pretty close game. We'll see. But Seahawks. I think just the talent is better, coaching's better. So yeah, I got Seahawks.
Yep.
Next up, I think is the game that's probably of all the games I keep going back and forth about, probably the one I go most back and forth about. We got the Washington football team heading to Denver to play the Broncos. Both these
I have the
teams,
Broncos. I have the Broncos in this one.
yeah, I mean,
I
I,
think Teddy will play outperform Heineke. I don't know.
yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, you could tell Teddy was dealing with some injuries last week, but he got a couple extra days rest. I'm sure that helped. Um, I'm gonna go Washington. Probably the last time I'll ever say that this year.
I
I
guess
don't.
I guess Denver's defense hasn't really been living up to
Yeah,
expectations that
they're.
well, but neither has Washington's.
Oh no, definitely not.
Washington's is probably the worst defense to live up to expectations. Like they completely let down.
Oh yeah, definitely this year they have
Horrible
been.
defense.
Denver's too, though. I mean, at least I was
That's
pretty
what I
high
just
on.
said.
Oh yeah,
But I would take Denver's defense over Washington right now.
with it's hard for me to say that. It was Von Miller's not is pretty banged up.
Their
He's not even
corners
playing
are
this
there.
week. Certain. I mean, Kyle Fuller got benched, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington. I think that D line did kind of look okay against Green Bay at times. With Teddy kind of banged up as he was last week, maybe if they can take advantage of that. I don't know. I don't really want to pick either game. I kind of want to call it a tie, but not living like that.
Well, it's definitely not a tie. I can tell
No.
you.
I mean, who knows? Maybe this is the first time we see a tie this year. But next up, we got a game that I don't see being close at all. We got Tampa heading to New Orleans to play the Saints. Saints just haven't really looked well at all.
Tampa Bay by a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they made.
Um, Jameis isn't the answer. The receivers are all right. They're not the best, but I guess with a better QB, they could be better receivers. But
It would be interesting to see how that offense would play with Michael Thomas playing. He is one of the better receivers in the league when healthy, but he's not. Alvin Kamara does as much as he can. He's the heart and soul of that team. Yeah, Jameis just isn't it, or at least hasn't been it.
yeah,
So yeah,
definitely not.
Tampa. Tampa is going to keep on the momentum they're doing. Good division win for Tampa. Next up, we got Dallas Cowboys on a Sunday night heading to Minnesota to play the Vikings in what should be, and or at least could be, a pretty high-scoring game. What do you think?
Mm, I couldn't make a case for both of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Cowboys because the Cowboys defense has been playing pretty hot. Um, yeah, I have the Cowboys.
Um. Yeah. It's like a lot of these. I keep going back and forth. I'm gonna go Vikings here. I kind of want to see how Trayvon Diggs is gonna play in this game against whether it be he guards Thielen or
I
Justin
mean,
Jefferson.
he's played better QBs. He's had an interception in every single game.
He's
I
also
got the
giving up a lot
Cowboys.
of yards.
And no, you can make a case. A lot of those aren't his fault.
Yeah,
Um,
you can
he's playing
easily.
corner, and the safeties, Cowboys safeties aren't very good.
No, they
And
are not.
I know which play you're thinking of, and that play was not his fault. I
Well,
feel what
it's
team that
been
was.
multiple, but yeah. But yeah, it is a hard to look at just that, or not just that, but look at stats like that because there is more give and take. We don't know whose responsibility it always is who. Sometimes it's just he's the closest, or anyone is the closest defensive player, and they give it to them in many cases. That is a hard stat, but just I don't know. I'd like to see what I think Minnesota at home. That offense is can't plays pretty highly at times. It seems like they got something going there. Um, so I'm gonna go Minnesota in this game.
Could be,
I
but
think it'll be a fun Monday night game, high scoring. Both teams can. This Monday night game, I don't know. We got the Giants heading to Kansas City. Kansas City hasn't played to the level that a lot of people expected them to so far in the season, but it's still the Giants. I think Kansas City has this one.
is Mahomes concussed?
Um, I'm not 100% sure, but I think even with Chad Haney, they could win this game.
Honestly, you could make a case of the Giants winning.
Yeah, you can.
Daniel Jones has been playing pretty good. Um, I think Sterling Shepard's going to be back. Kenny Galladay might be back. Chiefs defense is horrid. Um, I think the Giants could actually win this game. Patrick Mahomes is not playing. He's playing rough. I think the Giants will win this one, actually.
A little bit of an upset.
Yeah, they have crap. What's his name? Their Giants running back. Can't think of his name.
Saquon
He's
or
been
Devontae
playing
Booker?
He's been playing
Yeah,
decent.
he's been playing pretty
He's gonna
good.
be. They actually have both him and Williams having good games in that matchup. So
Yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting one. I still gotta go Chiefs, but we'll see how long I say that.
I mean, if you really look at it, the Chiefs are not much of a better team than the Giants. Yeah, receiving wise with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, but past that, no, they're down bad. They have kind of a pieced together O line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting
Um,
how it goes, but let's move on to the next segment. We got the Add a Legend, where we look at players from teams past and see how they would fare on a on the team now. And this time around, we're gonna look at the Denver Broncos. I feel like for the Denver Broncos, there's a couple positions you could go to, but I feel like with kind of the players they've had, quarterback seems the way to go. And then you get into the debate John Elway versus Peyton Manning. And for my case, I felt like with kind of the records Peyton made as a Bronco, I go Peyton Manning.
yeah, that's who I actually picked too.
When
Peyton
you
Manning, when he came to the Broncos, he came hell blazing. It's when he set the records he holds now. Um,
oh yeah,
like rocketed to those records, and he had great receivers at the time, like five of them.
oh yeah,
Um,
and
just a great team.
when Denver's
Defense was
offense
great.
when Denver's offense is healthy, they have a handful of weapons. I mean, some of them are hurt kind of right now, but they Cortland Sutton, KJ
Yeah.
Hamler, Jerry Jeudy. When healthy, it's a lot of weapons. Noah Fant. So that Peyton Manning would probably love to play with guys like that.
Yeah. Which Demarius Thomas,
Oh yeah, the weapons on those early.
like
You know,
60 bombs to him,
oh yeah,
60-yard bombs. Manuel Sanders, he was
oh yeah.
really good at the time.
Manuel Sanders, Eric Decker, Wes Welker near the end of that, Julius Thomas, the tight end. They had a lot of good weapons. But that's all we got for you today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, follow all the social medias. They'll be linked below. Have a good weekend, everybody.
See you later.